for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
Years ago today, at this very track, it all started. Racing etiquette was revolutionized forever. Live from the Kansas Motor Speedway, it's the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series presented by Racing Revolution. I'm your host and producer, Morgan Cook, and alongside me in the booth tonight, making his return, Logan Threlkeld, and we are on V-Speed.
Thank you very much, Morgan. Happy to be here for another Racing Revolution race tonight. Really looking forward to being here at Kansas.
We are here at Kansas for the AXCEL Sports 200. Should be a great race tonight. Going to dive right into the points. Race number 1 of the round of 12 points reset. Jeremy Burns, Rob Rader, Travis Gilbert, your top 3, well ahead of the pack. With the cut line, 4 drivers effectively tied. Thorpe, Linz, Johnston, and Turner. With a few other drivers below the cut line. You can see them all on your screen. We dropped 4 last week. And in another 3 weeks, we're going to drop another 4. You better be on the top side of that red elimination line for your playoff bids end. Let's have a look at the racetrack. And Logan, there's no place like Kansas.
There's no place like Kansas, Morgan. There's just something beautiful about this 1.5 mile D-oval kind of shape. You know, we've got the 17 degrees banking in the turns, 10 degrees on the front stretch. Apologize, that was a four-corner tri-oval configuration here at Kansas, but nonetheless.
Yeah, I don't know what a four-corner tri-oval is. I think the oval is accurate. But the best thing about this racetrack, in my opinion, is, well, for one, all of the action it gets here on V-Speed. But second, the variable banking in the corners, Logan. I'm sure you've had a chance to drive on this racetrack, at least in the last couple of years here on iRacing. Very different bankings on the bottom, the middle, and the top of this racetrack.
There absolutely is, and it's all going to come down to, the tire wear and the track temperature is going to be the biggest factors here tonight for what line is going to be the most dominant.
Absolutely right about that. Have a look at the race itself today. Race length is 133, 134, something like that laps. Pit road speed 45 miles an hour. We have 5 sets laying, and little birdie tells me we can go about 30 laps on a tank, meaning this is going to be a multiple stop race to make it to the end. 3 green-white checkers. Probably won't use all of them here tonight, but it is Kansas. Anything can happen. Stage will be around lap number 40. Let's keep that in mind, Logan. We often forget here on V-Speed when the stages occur, trying to find a caution that there was no cause for other than just hitting that magic number.
Yeah, the difficult part here with the stage caution is, like you said, sometimes you're just looking for something that never happened, but it's also going to throw a wrench in things when we have green flag pit stops right before that. Are we going to see somebody try to stretch out that 40 lap on a tank of fuel, or is everybody going to have to come down before the stage ever comes up?
Yeah, great question. And we're going to have to see how it all shakes out. While we have a few seconds, let's look ahead. Kansas this week, Talladega next week, then the Roval. That is the round of 12, leading into the round of 8, and then the championship in Phoenix in a number of weeks' time. But it's time to hit the grid. It's time to share with you the Coastal Financial Pole Award winner, Jackson McGeorge. Come on down. You are the winner today. Our mission at Coastal Financial is to provide comprehensive financial planning solutions tailored to each individual's unique needs and goals, with the aim of empowering our clients to make informed financial decisions and achieve their financial potential. You can find us at coastalfinancial.com or on Facebook at Coastal Financial. Once again, thank you for being the full season sponsor of the Coastal Financial Pole Award, and congratulations to Jackson McGeorge for earning it here at Kansas. Now it's time to get to the grid. McGeorge on the pole. Loveland, V-Speed's very own best qualifying effort of the season. He will start second in the 02. Third position, at least for the moment, belongs to Kyle Diaz. What a great start for the 26 as well. Devin Hudgens will start in the 4th spot. 5th position, Rob Rader trying to take over the points lead from his teammate Jeremy Burns. Brandon Richardson will start in 6th. 7th position, Tyler Harrison in the 45. Trevor Erhardt in the 41 will start in 8th. And rounding out the top 10, Grant Thorpe in 77. Alex Forget won the last time we were here. He starts in 10th.
Taking the 11th spot, we have Travis Gilbert in the 22, next to Carter Lenz in the 66. Jeremy Burns, a little bit further back than he would be expecting tonight, but takes home the 13th starting position next to Matt Robinson. Nick Alves in the 24 will take the 15th spot next to Chris Nail in the 88. Michael Call in the 89 will take home 17th next to Michael Bennett in the 14. Kevin Orlando Jr. and Trevor Keith will round out your top 20.
Starting 21st tonight, Grant the Toes Turner in the 39, Justice Murphy 22nd. 23rd spot in the 23, Christopher Schaefer. 24th, Cameron King making his return. 25th, Dylan Picklesheimer in the 43. Sirkovich will start 26th. 27th, Caleb Gilbert. The Candyman, Daniel Holloway, starts 28th. 29th, Al Likens in the 40. Parker Johnston with the T starts 30th. And last on the grid tonight, Joe Joya in the 17 will start 31st. Let's get down trackside. As the field rolls through the exit of turn 4, pace car off the racetrack. Whole lot of green flag in Barney's hand. Green at Kansas.
action juice on that top row there, causing a big checkup before they even entered turn 1.
Three wide for the lead. Raider to the bottom. And he is going to clear off of turn number 4. How about from 5th to 1st? Goodness gracious.
Can't complain about that whatsoever if you're Rob Raider in that 53 machine.
And 3 wide all throughout the field. We talked about at the top of the show, 3 distinct lines, and they're all quick, especially on the new tires. As we try and fan out down the backstretch, there's still a massive gaggle of cars. Top 3, single file out, but it is a mess from there on back.
Yeah, it's right around that 10th position. You know, a lot of cars very close. You know, 3 wide still back there for it looks like the 12th, 13th, 14th position. It is not looking like it's going to single file out very quickly here tonight.
No, there's the 2 better grooves are definitely the top and the bottom. The top would be preferred most of the time, but you can rip the bottom, especially on the new tires. It's another 3 wide move. See the 22. Trying to make it happen. Around your pole setter, who is falling back quickly, and Loveland, who started second. To his outside, that's Diaz and Loveland. And George as well. We're just trying to single file out here and log some laps. We're only 4 laps in here at Kansas.
And with how much action there is with the 2 wides and the 3 wides, 4 laps has already felt like 20. It's just, it feels like this has been going on for so much longer than what it really has.
And if you're a driver right now, like Trevor Keith, and that's what you see in front of you, that's what you see behind you, really no place to go. They're already 2 wide, stacked up in front of you. What are you supposed to do? Got Al Likens off the pace. The Tide Ride, slipping back through the field. Going to fall all the way back to 31st position. Down 2 from where he started. Obviously on that initial start, Rob Raider was the big winner, gaining 4 positions up to the lead. Driver not having the greatest of time speed. Michael Call, who's down 11. His initial starting position is 17th. He rides right now in the 28th position. Could be a strategy play, could also just be put in a bad position. But the battles are not over yet. Here comes Loveland. Back up to take second. Single file out.
Way further in the pack. We almost have a 4 wide situation entering turn 3. It's getting very intense back here around that 66 of Carter Lenz. There's nothing but car door to door, bumper to bumper action.
Oh, the 54 almost got turned by Schaefer. Huge bump into the rear bumper. Almost disastrous for those 2. They stay green and we stay green. But look at this. Cannot get away from each other. We got guys chopping noses.
Would you believe me if I told you that's been happening the entire time since the start of this race back here?
No, I wouldn't. Or I wouldn't find that too difficult to believe at all. I mean, look at this racing. They cannot get away from each other. Everything from about 13th on back behind that 45 is all stacked up. They're still facing 3 wide. It's a Schaefer and Bennett. Or banging each other. So difficult in this situation to get anything out of it. Where do you go? Clearly, the top line seems to be preferred, as you see most of the leaders running it. If you're stuck on the bottom, you can't just roll over. You got to still fight for it just to get freight trained all the way through the field. And when they're 3 wide in front of you, what do you do besides just make it 4 wide? Nick Alves has that thought right now. Does he go for it? He does not. How about 2 by 3 as we roll turns 1 and 2. Unreal racing at Kansas.
Man, this middle of the pack is just all over it.
A Turner in the outside wall. ever so slightly. Gilbert going to dive all the way down to the bottom side. He will get alongside the 88. And do it again through turns 1 and 2 and get another spot. It's closer to the front of the field. We are still battling. Top 4 single file out. McGeorge, the pole sitter, tries to peek to the inside to no avail. Devin Hudgens will try and fill that spot quickly if the opportunity arises. They're all chasing this guy. Robert Rader led 10 laps. The opening 10 laps, call it 11 now. From his 5th starting position.
Yeah, again, just what a fantastic start for Robert Rader. If we get an opportunity, I'd love to go back and see what kind of move he made to put himself in this #1 spot so quickly.
Yes, that would be good to see. Technology preventing us from that, unfortunately. Can't replay and show the live shot at the same time. Do not have that kind of picture-in-picture action, as much as I would love to. Phenomenal move, regardless, to make it from 5th to 1st. As Turner's in the wall again. It slided behind the 45. And look at the 54 continue to creep his way forward. Started 11 spots behind the one he's running right now. Up to 16th, started in 27th.
Not too bad of a start for him either. That's a lot of big movers very early in the race.
They might not like that they're on the big mover list at the end of the run. Tires very well may drive off a cliff. We're going to find out here. And what I think is only about 15 to 20 laps from now is when you would end your fuel run. It seems a little short to me, but I guess we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, I would be guessing more around that 35 to 40 area, but you know, these drivers out here were the ones doing the practice and I was just watching, so I really don't have much of an input there for you.
Slide job. Somehow cleared him. Crossover potentially. Loveland will not go for it. Move Travis Gilbert up to the 2nd spot in the 22 and very quickly catching your leader, Rob Rader. See a bit of a diamond effort for the 53. Drives it off the wall in turn number 2. That's how you run this place. And believe me, Logan, I know. I've been racing this place every Friday for the last 8 weeks. About to do it for the 9th and final time in VRX this week. Hopefully win a championship. And I think you'll be on the call. Will you not be?
I will be there. We will see how you do Friday night.
Yes, we will. 3 wide, almost. This is for the 6th position. 5th spot, in fact. McGeorge takes away from Hudgens. Grant Thorpe is right there. Remember, that is Mr. Fuel Mileage in the 77. If there's an opportunity to stretch it, he will find it. That's how he won Pocono earlier this year, making it on fuel when nobody else could. Be curious to see if that comes into effect here tonight. Carter Linz is still 3 wide. Now he's on the bottom. Somehow changed lanes. Unable to gain a spot. Oh, Murphy with a fairly hefty block on the 27. Dumping
Murphy
some
and
air
Orlando,
on the nose.
They have been going back and forth lap after lap. I've been keeping my eye on these two, and these cars have been door banging and off each other's bumper.
We're
for
still
probably 10 times in the last 20 laps.
We're still almost 3 wide, and we're still chopping each other's noses off. Got Turner in the outside wall. Not a ton of racing etiquette back here. Cameron King falling back quickly. Was as high as the mid-teens, finds himself now in 31st. Christopher Schaefer currently in 31st. Apologies, Cameron King in 30th. These two drivers, the last on the racetrack. Caleb Gilbert down pit road. This could be a potential strategy move. as we are about 0.8 slower than our fast laps of the day. Remember, stage in about 20 laps from now, so this is an interesting move. I don't know if that was a planned pit stop or if maybe some wall contact forced the hand of the 54 who was rolling through the field. He's currently off pit road, 2 tires only. Trevor Keith also on pit road makes me think that was a strategy call.
I would almost have to think that it is. You know, obviously with the stage caution at lap 40, they could be looking to split this perfectly, allow them to get up there, you know, with some fresh tires and full tank of fuel. They'll be able to basically assume the lead when the rest of this field comes in for their green flag pit stop.
Yeah, that's probably what the plan is, to flip the stage, although it's a little early to be flipping the stage quite like that. Justice Murphy also on the pit lane. See McGeorge on the outside wall again, because 20 laps, that's a long time. You're going to have some quite worn tires. Keith took 4. Trevor Keith, that is, took 4. Caleb Gilbert took 2, and we're waiting on Justice Murphy to see what wheels are spinning on the 12. He is going to take 2 tires as well. Is Matt Robinson going to pit? Yes, he is. Wow, I don't know how he didn't speed if he made it to pit road. Orlando Jr., Michael Bennett also on the pit lane.
What do you think, Morgan? The early call, you know, you say might be a little risky, but it's definitely put that thought in multiple other drivers' heads too, as we see more of them coming down pit lane lap after lap shortly after.
I'll tell you what, it's only risky if you're the only one who does it. If everyone else does it, it's status quo. It doesn't really matter. But at this point, all those drivers who pitted are a lap down. So let's have a look and see, where is Matt Robinson just leaving pit road now? Where is, let's say, Caleb Gilbert? He was the farthest ahead of the drivers who hit pit road. Where is he on the racetrack? He is behind Schaefer, so he's at the back of the field. So they'll take the wave around, but they're going to be 20 laps shorter on fuel than the rest of the field. So I question this call, especially if Rader stays out, because he'll trap all those drivers a lap down, and there are currently 11 of them. About to be more, as Loveland, Diaz, and Forget are on that strategy as well.
Well, keep in mind, from our information, these cars can't make it the full 40 laps on a tank of fuel.
That's true. That's true.
So barring a caution, you know, they're kind of, I think they're on the right strategy. I think all of these drivers that we saw come down early will be able to collect quite a few stage points here versus
and
if they would have stayed on the same thing.
Also on the pit lane. Yeah, you're definitely right about that. That would flip it. I forgot that we couldn't make it 40. We can only make it 30. Something I did not take into account. I still think 10 laps is a lot, just because now you're going to be short if you don't pit at the stage, or depending how that works. You imagine you pit the stage though. I don't know why you wouldn't, but it becomes an interesting sort of situation. The battle for the lead is clear, however. Rader and Gilbert trying to be the first driver in the race. Rader's led every lap so far.
I tell you what, though, watching Caleb Gilbert in that 54, he might be a lap down, but with that fresh set of tires, he is carving up the entire field. I just watched him pass about 6 cars in a matter of 2 corners.
And he is about 7/10 faster than the field right now. This 54 is on rails, and that's only 2 tires. That's not even 4 fresh ones. Only a handful of drivers took 4 tires. Jackson McGeorge, Trevor Keith, Michael Bennett, Joe Joya, Jacob Sirkovich took 4. Everyone else who's hit pit road has taken the 2 tires only. Rader continues to lead. Thorpe has caught up to Gilbert as well. We hit pit road this time for the 22. We do. That might be the shot that Rader needed to say we're pitting this time, and here comes the 88 of Chris Nail, as they are fighting behind him. I just saw 3 wide. There it is. Robinson, Picklesheimer, Holloway was 3 wide. Massive battles here at Kansas.
Yeah, this little grouping has been a cluster for the last couple laps. very fun to watch. 5, 6, 7 cars battle it out at times.
Raider hits pit lane. Grant Thorpe will take over the lead for the first time today. A driver not named Robert Raider will lead at Kansas. Grant Turner going to stay out. That driver is second, even though he's being swarmed by lap down cars. You can just see the closing speed that Loveland has. The rest of the drivers have as he tags the outside wall. 3 wide off the bottom. That's dangerous. The 22 merge up the track there, and I don't know if everyone quite realized where he was. Only 6 drivers have yet to pit. Make that 5 as Grant Thorpe is on the pit lane. So is Picklesheimer, Holloway, Lycan, Schaefer. Erhardt still out there, although he has hit the pit road.
So it does appear that information was correct. Right about that 30 to 32 lap is kind of our window for the fuel mileage.
I thought they were going to shortchange me a little bit. I thought they were going to give me a little bit shorter so that they could stretch it out on the broadcast. I was mistaken. Grant Turner hits the pit lane. Should give the lead back to the 77. No, give it to the 41.
Yeah, Trevor Erhardt finally able to complete a pass on Caleb Gilbert. We saw him behind him for a little while, but appears the fresher tires there on both sides of the vehicle for the 41 have prevailed.
I think he only has right sides, only 10 seconds in the box. I think just a slightly slower stop than Caleb Gilbert, but he's been on the racetrack. How did that work? That's interesting. I don't see any reason he should be ahead of the 54 right now, unless he was in front when he made the pit stop at Grant. And look at Grant Turner falling all the way through the field. Back to 23rd as the last driver exits the pit lane. Last driver to hit pit road, that is. Erhardt leads at Kansas. Caleb Gilbert running in second as we close in on the stage. Under 10 laps to go. Jeremy Burns in the 3rd spot. Matt Robinson in 4th. Kyle Diaz, Alex Forget, James Loveland, Travis Gilbert, and Justice Murphy are your top 10. Now Rob Raider moves into the 10th spot. So he was the leader when the cycle began. Finds himself currently in the 10th position.
He does have time to catch up to the 12 of Justice Murphy, though, and he's got much fresher tires than Murphy does by 8 laps. So
Seeing
as long
half
as
a
he
second
can find a good groove, he'll
on
be
the
able to catch
stopwatch.
up and get another point.
And you're right about that. Half second on the stopwatch, and the gap is only about 1.6 seconds. So he should get there with 2 to spare. Let's watch the battle time-wise. See Murphy actually gaining just a little bit now on the corner exit, maintaining 1.45 seconds.
This
Right
corner
there.
entry and mid-corner is where Raiders going to get all of the momentum with all of the grip.
Absolutely, that was 4/10 in one corner. Let's see if he can double it up here. As the 54 is under attack, it's under a second now. Raider to Murphy. But look at this battle up here. 54 is on the outside wall again. He was second. Tire wear. Remember, he was the first one to hit pit road. Tire wear not working. It's now flipped for the 54. Track position, positive, yes. But the end of the run, tire still important. It's a 22. Travis Gilbert working his way through the field. Remember, he came in second. Where will he cycle out? Potentially could be in the top 5 if he's able to pass one more car. Robinson into the outside wall. He is going to get that one more car as Robinson does his best wall testing impression. It stands.
Meanwhile, Murphy and Raider both rapidly catching up to Robinson. Raider almost to the back bumper of the 12. So He's looking to the inside. They might have enough momentum to catch up to Robinson.
Yeah, and Rader is there. Rader's already passed him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it's 8 laps on the tires. That's how much they're worth, about half a second per lap. Erhardt still leads. The gap is now 1.3 seconds over Jeremy Burns. They are on equal tires. Travis Gilbert 5 laps fresher. He might get second. I don't think he can get the lead in only 2 more laps. Diaz crosses over Forget. Forget to the outside wall, into the outside wall. As Loveland hangs right behind him. Good battle back here between teammates plus Matt Robinson. Not much of a battle anymore as Rader drives right on by, back to 7th position. As the 54, aggressive on the strategy, it's going to bite him ever so slightly. He might lose the top 10. Robinson to the bottom this time. No fear of hitting the outside wall when you run the bottom. Well, hopefully not. Maybe just off the corners.
You got a whole lot of track above you to hit that wall, so that might be more of an accomplishment in itself.
And Erhardt's going to win the first stage. Once 10th place crosses the line, which is Justice Murphy, caution should come out. There it is. The results of the stage: Erhardt, Gilbert, Burns, Forget, Diaz, Loveland, Rader, Caleb Gilbert, Matt Robinson, and Justice Murphy all getting stage points. And if we have a quick look at the points, that's going to be important. A lot of yellow spoilers in that group. Few drivers did not get stage points on this list, namely Parker Johnston, Trevor Keith,
Grant Turner,
no
stage points.
Harrison, yeah.
Carter Lenz, no stage points.
Kevin Orlando Jr. as well. So yeah, a mixed bag on the round of 12. Drivers getting the stage points. That just means you got to finish well. That's the only way you can get back to it. Is you miss out on those points, now you have to run the rest of the race well. And Erhardt, I bet he hoped that Kansas and Bristol were flipped. He was in the round of 16, unable to make it into this round. Forget exactly the same way after a disastrous Bristol race. But on to pit road for the second time today.
There's all sorts of action coming down pit road. We kind of knew that this would happen. You know, obviously a stage break is basically a race reset.
Yeah, free opportunity to take 4 tires and fuel. The worst you're going to do is lose some spots. You're not really going to lose time per se. They talk about track position as both the distance on the racetrack, but also the positions that you gain and lose. We had a drag race here. Who's it going to be? 41 got him ever so slightly. I don't know how he managed that. Oh, the 12 spins. Justice Murphy just spun off a pit road, and there's a massive pileup. What on earth? We need to go back and see, how did that happen? So rolling off a pit road, got Alves to the inside and Richardson. We go to accelerate and just spins it out. Must have been in first gear. A little too much rear acceleration, and around goes the 12. Going to lose all that track position and possibly pick up a little left front damage, although I don't think it's too bad. No, car looks clean. That could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, thank goodness. The pit speed is, what, 45 here at Kansas?
Yeah, something like that for sure.
If it was 60, that's a lot more damage there.
I mean, we were maybe 200 feet from the exit of pit road, and we are way below the line here. We must be saving a lot of fuel. I would have to think that's why we're running. 3 lanes below the apron, but hey, I'm just a commentator.
You know, it makes sense. I don't necessarily agree with it, but you know, it's Racing Revolution did revolutionize racing etiquette, so
They sure did, and I don't know. That's I don't know. That's something. I don't want to say too much. There's a meme out there that I say anything, I get in trouble. We're gonna say nothing up here about that. As we're about to get back to 1 degree, and how about to hit the choose? The choose here, just like every other racetrack this season, is at the start-finish line. Above the apron, you are on the top side. Below the apron, you're on the bottom side. Erhardt to the bottom. Second and third will go to the top side. You were going to say, Logan?
I forgot that we had the choose cone here. Honestly, it's so far it's been a green flag race, so kind of hard to remember that whenever you just don't see it very often. So props to the drivers here in Racing Revolution for 40 green flag laps to start this one out.
Yeah, if not for the stage, I imagine we would still be going green. We've only seen 1 car sideways, and that was off of the pit lane. Just saw that a few moments ago. No harm, no foul for the 12. Looks like he may have even got the spot back. Not sure how that all works, but nonetheless, we are still rolling. About to go green for the second time tonight. Erhardt leads. Travis Gilbert to his outside. Burns and Forget make up row 2. Diaz and Rader in row 3. As the pace car removes itself from the racing surface. They creep into the restart zone. Great acceleration for the 41. He's going to get away clean. 2 car lengths is what we'll call it. Roll into turn number 1. Just saw some 3 wide there. In fact, we did see 3 wide. That's on that second row. Oh, door banging. Up in second. Forget off the pace now. These restarts are wild. Wow.
We have multiple 3 wide instances here. First one, well, just cleared itself up, but that was with the 24 of Nick Alves, James Loveland, and I believe Matt Robinson.
The racing here at this racetrack is just phenomenal. Ever since they've repaved it, a lot of grip in the racetrack, the multiple grooves, the multiple different bankings allows you to run like this. Oh, Forget just chopped the nose of the 53. That was just about a massive accident.
And to go along with what you're saying, this Cup Car 2 at this track is a perfect combination of everything coming together perfectly.
Look at the damage on the nose of the 24. Nick Alves. See it when he comes off at turn number 2 here. And there's a look at the driver, probably not pleased. That thing is destroyed.
Yeah, that is not going to help his arrow whatsoever.
Not at all. He might have to follow, not lead in that 24. Hopefully that's only about 30 seconds to get it fixed, but caution is what he'll need to get it repaired. As he currently is the last car of the single file ones, and got a bunch of hungry hippos behind him. Do you think we'd get a Hungry Hippos reference in this broadcast, Logan?
You know, that was not on the bingo card for the Kansas race tonight.
We do our best to impress up here on V-Speed. Speaking of, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I've been Morgan. Logan up here in the booth with me as the leaders in the outside wall. 2x2 off of turn 2. Door banging. Drag race. Who's going to get it into 3? Big dive to the inside for Travis Gilbert. Not going to be able to clear. He might force it into the outside wall. He did force it. And there's, oh my goodness, we got 4 cars under a blanket. I cannot imagine Erhardt is too happy with Gilbert right now. As Diaz drives to the inside. 41 tried to move him, unable to do so. Wow. A lot of action in a short amount of time right there. That 41 is wounded. And the 22 is going to drive away. Teammate in tow. But here comes the defending winner of this race, Alex Forget, up to the second position.
That's one thing you got to say. You can never forget about Alex.
Can never forget about Alex. This dude can drive the wheels off of it. I have never seen somebody so fast and pass so many cars every single week. And when it's good, just like Darlington, it's great. When it's bad, it's a lot like Bristol last week, and it's tough. This week, so far, so good, running in the 4th spot, up from where he started in the 10th position. He's the only guy in the league, I would say, is 3 wide by himself. Very Kyle Busch-esque is the driver of the 19. Still battling a little further back, as we might have an issue here for Jackson McGeorge. He is around. 98 has spun out. Let's go back and see why. He's on the inside of, it's like Hudgens here. Got the 27 behind him. Oh, it's a 3 wide move gone wrong and turned to both on the outside wall. Hard to say who got the worst of that, because that Hudgens machine is ruined as well. Check it out from the blimp view. This is on the backstretch, but
If I was to guess, I'm going to say that 84 got the worst of it here. The 98 looks like he might be mostly repairable, but that 84 is looking very rough after this.
yeah, 27 just tried to slide in behind the 84, mistimed it, and turned them both in the wall. I don't know, they both got pretty big hits there. I mean, the right front suspension destroyed on the 84 for sure, but I haven't seen the 98 roll yet. I can't imagine it's looking too good. Yeah, look at that. The wheels might be straight, though.
Well, the 98 has made it back into his pit stall. Very unfortunate, obviously setting the pole tonight, so he's got that very first pit stall and replacing tires.
Oh, Kyle Diaz spun around, coming to pit road, trying to do the rejoin. He's gonna lose all that track position. Remember, he was up in the top 3. What is going on the entry to pit road? Another replay coming at you. Oh, he hit the bumps. And this rigid next-gen car strikes again. Hit the bump, started bouncing, and unable to control it. Goodness gracious.
Oddly enough here, Morgan, the 22 of Travis Gilbert came down pit road, but either missed his box or decided he didn't want to do a pit stop, but he came right back out.
This has been just a crazy race to this point. 55 laps in. We've only had 1 caution for cause. We've seen 2 spins within 200 feet of pit road. You can't make this stuff up, folks. As Gilbert did, in fact, miss the pit box, came down pit road, was on there for 25 seconds, but no pit stop. Currently resides in the 8th position. Will he come back down pit road this time? I'd have to think so. He will not. Top 8, technically, have not pit. Everyone from Justice Murphy on back has hit the pit lane. Justice Murphy taking fuel only. So did Daniel Holloway in the 21. Bunch of fresh tires behind him, including Jeremy Burns, Rob Rader, and Caleb Gilbert, the Element X guys, 13th through 15th. Yeah, this is about to get wild, I have a feeling.
Play out. We have so many different mixed strategies here, and of course the most confusing one to myself is Travis Gilbert's call to not come back down pit road. Surely he does not have enough fuel, but hey, he's the one driving it, and I'm up here in the booth with you.
Yeah, they're a little under halfway through the fuel run, so you can go about 15 to 18 more laps on fuel. Does that put him in any kind of window? It doesn't look like it. So it looks like he'll just be with the rest of the top 8 and be a little shorter on fuel than everybody else. It might cycle out to work, but it's a dangerous call. I mean, they need a track position, everybody in front of them, save for maybe Erhardt and Forget. I think everyone else needs track position. There comes the 22 back down pit road. He will top off with fuel, fall all the way back in the field, back to presumably the 28th spot, where Kyle Diaz, the last car on the lead lap, is. Remember, he spun coming to the pit lane. McGeorge with the damage is a lap down. Schaefer is 2 down, and Devin Hudgens with the damage is 3 down. He did, in fact, get the worst of it. As Gilbert falls through the field.
McGeorge's car is still not looking great by any means, but obviously the 84 Hudgens just potentially a race-ending incident.
Yeah, it's definitely going to need to repair the toe link. I saw that the right front was not pointed the same way as the left front, and that's simply not going to work at pretty much any racetrack, but especially one as fast as this Kansas Speedway. 57 laps in, and oh man, we have had a whale of a race to this point. 3 wide all the way through the field. 2 wide battles, track position, fuel strategy, shaping up to be another classic Kansas race here in Racing Revolution. Green into the restart zone. Here we go. Trevor Keith with not a great start. Going to fall back just a few positions. The top side's lined all the way up.
We're going to take it 3 wide into turn 1.
Michael Call. Try and make. Oh, we're wrecking.
Oh!
I just saw Rob Rader involved. Where is the 53? There he is.
That's going to be Raider involved.
No
the
caution.
22 of Gilbert involved.
No caution.
There's
Those are 2 of the
one
fastest
more.
drivers all season, but we stay green. What on earth? We're going to have to go back and watch that. You keep an eye on the live shot, and I will go figure out what happened to Raider and Gilbert.
The third one involved in that is the 93 of Cameron King.
Let's go back another 15 seconds here and see if we can figure out what caused this accident. I don't even see the 22 anywhere, but 53 up the racetrack gets loose on his own into Hudgens, into Alves, and there's Cameron King with nowhere to go. Just drove right in the door of the 53. Heavy damage for all those involved. I think the 22 got away from it not too bad, just a simple slide. We go back to the live shot.
Yeah, it looked like the 22 just, he picked his lane to try to avoid it, and it worked out. He collected no damage other than some flat spots in his tires. But overall, much better than the worst outcome possible.
And the driver who led the most laps today is currently on pit road, going to go at least 1 lap down, just now getting into the pit box. 53 of Rob Rader. Called him the Rocket last week, but the Rocket misfired today. Crash on the backstretch. Trevor Erhardt continues to lead. 25 of them out front. Alex Forget is second. Loveland right behind him in third. Battle for fourth. Parker Johnston and Al Likens. Driver started shotgun on the field. Up to the 5th spot. Trevor Keith rebounding to 6th. Justice Murphy is 7th. Robinson and Call fighting for the 8th position. Jeremy Burns resides in the 10th spot. Still battles all over the racetrack. A couple drivers who got damaged out of that incident, the 24 and the 54. Somehow there's no big divot in the front of the 24 this time. Was able to get it fixed under that caution. Grant Turner trying the flying V out here. You see that?
I did. I was keeping my eye on that. There's a lot of contact there between the 39 and the 21. It almost turned dangerous.
Just about did. There's a look at the driver. Grant Turner, playoff driver, running in 20th. not having a great day. You need a better day than this, likely, to advance into the playoffs, but this is just one race of 3. Oh, we got Schaefer in the wall. Oh my goodness, that was just about a massive crash again with Joya. But I guess no harm, no foul. I don't know if that quite applies here, but very well.
Yeah, that was very, had me on the edge of my seat there. I saw.
Especially considering none of those cars were even on the same lap. We got Schaefer 2 down. I guess Joya, Holloway, Picklesheimer are all on the same lap, all on the lead lap. But that 23 Shirley being the aggressor right now. Thorpe has fallen through the field. I think that was a pit strategy decision on that first pit stop. Back to 19th, Sirkovich to his outside. See what a lap of riding the wall feels like. Oh, now with dirty air. Fantastic. Jacob Sirkovich. It looks so easy, doesn't it, Logan?
It looks so smooth right now. But again, that's that repave of this speedway. Just makes it 10 times more fun.
And notice downshifting as well. There was a lot of 4th gear on that lap. To be fast in traffic, you have to run 4th gear, and the driver who's fast in traffic right now, Alex Forget, up to the lead over Trevor Erhardt, James Loveland, and Parker Johnston with a T. Only 2 playoff drivers in the top 4. 3 if you want to include Justice Murphy in the 5th spot. Obviously 3 in the top 5. Interesting showing there. Playoff drivers are speckled throughout the field. Not as concentrated in the top 10 as you would expect.
Yeah, this has been quite a curveball of a race here for these playoff drivers. You know, whenever it comes to this late in the season, especially a track like Kansas is very well loved, you expect to see those playoff drivers up there in the front, but it is just not happening tonight. We have playoff drivers laps down, we have playoff drivers in the middle of the pack, front of the pack, all over the place. This has been a very odd race.
Absolutely. Hudgens leaving pit road. Thank goodness. Good to see that 84 back on the racetrack. New leader. Trevor Erhardt takes the point back from Alex Forget, but here we go into 3. Bump drafting. They both pile into the high side to see if they can get the momentum off the corner. No pass to be made as we roll turn 4 down to the start-finish line. Good battle here for the 3rd spot. Somehow missed it. There's Jeremy Burns. There's the battle for the 3rd spot. 4th spot. It'll be 3 wide potentially. Murphy closes the door on that battle. Such a fun racetrack, and we're just past halfway as well. It has flown by.
I'm not sure if the camera caught that, but a lot of contact there from the 48 to the back of the 1. Almost shipped him into the wall in the entrance of turn 3.
Yeah, you can try and push a driver a little farther into the corner than they want. It gets their car upset, and you can do it without necessarily wrecking their race, putting them in the wall or anything like that. It just kind of upsets the aero balance. Gets them a little faster than they want to be. And that is a tool you have in your toolbox. Haven't seen anybody use it quite to success tonight. Seen a few drivers try. But if you miss, you are going to have an awful corner. And look at this gaggle. We got like 7 cars under a blanket here. We're up to be 4 wide. It's a lot like last week with Matt Robinson. That 40 car is holding up the high line on the older tires. And they got a pit here in the next handful of laps. 29 laps on the run. I don't know if we're even going to get there based on this racing. 4 wide for the first time today on camera.
Almost offset 5 wide there. That was... Ooh, this is Kansas, baby.
This is Kansas. No place quite like it. Few drivers doing slide jobs on the exit of turn number 2. Saw Call slide right in front of the 14 of Bennett. This is what it's like inside the race car. Driver of the 14. Oh, there's 2 of them there. That's not okay. Let's get rid of that one. There we go. That fits in the frame. An outside wall for Bennett. Look at this. They're leaning on each other in front of them. Where do you go? What are you supposed to do? Running in the 13th position.
At this point, you almost just had to wait for somebody to make a mistake when you're boxed in the way that Michael Bennett is right now with the wall and cars low, cars behind, just cars everywhere except for your right side when you're hugging the wall about 6 inches away from it.
Yeah, one slip from any of those drivers, and it's a massive pileup. They're 2 wide in front of him, 3 wide behind him. He's about to be part of that 3 wide call with a big moment off of turn 2. We stay green. So 89 is going to fall back on the bottom. Alv stuck in the middle. Lynn's going to try and make it 4 wide. Going to get the 14 a little bit loose. 8's coming. Look at this. I cannot believe this racing at Kansas.
This has been so intense in the middle of the field the entire race. I think we had maybe 10 laps where there wasn't a car side by side or 3 wide.
Absolutely crazy. It looks like it's sort of sorting itself out right now as Jeremy Burns takes the lead. We got drivers hitting pit road. Just saw all those leaders, all 7 of them who didn't hit pit road before. They're there now. A look down pit lane. Going to show you 4 of them, 5 of them. As Burns, Gilbert, Loveland has to hit pit road. He'll be doing that this time. Robinson doesn't need to pit. Trevor Keith does. I have to think those drivers hit pit road right here, and those are the only 2 who did not pit. Loveland's on his way down, and so is the 15, so is the 66. So familiar name up front. We've seen him on the driver cam all season long. Driver of the 9, Jeremy Burns, is your leader.
I knew it was only a matter of time before seeing Jeremy Burns up there in the front.
Let's see if he's shifting. I don't think he is. I think that's more of a back in the pack sort of thing. He is currently 3/10 up on his teammate Caleb Gilbert as he downshift in the center. I don't see it. Smooth sailing on the high line for Mr. Burns, the Mountain Man. So many great nicknames in this series. I think that's something that kind of gets overlooked a little bit is a lot of these drivers have almost like a persona on the racetrack that is just interesting to bring to life here on V-Speed, and glad to be able to do it every week. We've been here since February at the Clash, which if you haven't seen that race, go back and watch the last lap. It also made a YouTube short. I think 14 cars were passed on the final lap. Something of that nature. It was pretty wild. Also made it into a Trevor Erhardt Racing Revolution compilation video. It was released this morning. See if we can get Trevor to drop that on the social somewhere.
I absolutely hope so. That was a fantastic video put together by him. It really just got you excited for the remainder of the season, being in the playoffs the way that we are here. It's very well put together. Props to him.
It was provocative. It got the people going.
It definitely did.
You drivers
got me
hitting the pit
excited
lane.
to be here tonight.
Yeah, because you weren't excited to work with me already. Come on, Logan. Don't kid yourself.
I plead the 5th, Morgan.
Robinson hitting pit road. Couldn't quite turn that into a segue, but we tried. We tried. Justice Murphy also hitting pit road. So is Grant Thorpe. A little early. I think you probably could have stretched this another 3 laps, but this puts you really close to the window. The one stop from here. Should be able to split it. If it's 30 each run, we're only about 50 from the finish.
I would say probably trying to split that right at that 30. Look to run the last bit of the fuel out of the next tank that they're going to be on. You'll have about 20 laps left to the end of the race, barring a caution between now and then. I think would be the best setup. I'm sure we'll see other drivers do the opposite of that. And then I'm sure we'll see drivers split it right down the middle. 25 laps and 25 laps, but only time will tell.
Yeah, so the reason why I think it's a little early is because if you can go the full 30, you have to pit one more time guaranteed. There's no question about that. If you run this one out, the next one you can take less fuel to make it to the end. So your pit stop should be, in theory, maybe a couple seconds faster. That could be the difference between you coming out in the lead or you coming out in third. So that's why I say that. We'll see how it goes, I guess. The top 8 heard me. Trevor Erhardt on back. They pitted a little early. 6 laps ago. They're still racing tooth and nail. This is the battle for the eventual lead. When everyone else hits the pit road, just about caught the wall. 2 of them did. Get into the outside wall into turn number 1. Alves just leaving pit road. Burns still on the racetrack. I think another 1, maybe 2 laps possible for these drivers. They also could have been saving throughout the run. Richardson not hitting pit road either. Grant Turner, we know he is adverse to coming to pit road when expected. Picklesheimer right behind him. Holloway, the Candyman, on the pit road. Curious to see how it all works out as the new tires are catching the old tires. Forget's going to split them 3 wide. Great move for the 19. Lift him up to 8th. There's Burns, Gilbert, Picklesheimer. Richardson stays out. So does Grant Turner. Only 2 drivers not hit the pit lane on this cycle. This 41 has been spectacular today. Really great race for Trevor Erhardt. It's probably got something to do with the video. I think it has to. You know, like that just builds momentum all on its own.
You're not wrong about that by any means. That 41, he has put on one heck of a show here tonight.
Grant Turner going to go 1 lap farther than the rest of the field. Richardson is on pit road already. Grant Turner going to stretch this thing to 34 laps on fuel. Imagine he'll make that sharp left-hand turn this time. He will. Clean into the pit lane. Everything looks good for Grant Turner. Erhardt going to take over the lead again once they get to the front stretch. As Turner was over half a lap ahead, just based on not hitting the pit road. You can see the gap falling very quickly. It's about to be 0. There it is. 1. And new leader, it's the 41.
Well, new leader this time by. We've seen the 41 up here plenty enough today.
Doing my best Chad Knaus impression. Sorry, Logan. Matt Robinson. In 5th. Taking the fight to Carter Lins. Who ever since he got away from the curse of Cook has really turned his season around. That 66 has been quick in every league he's been a part of over the last, say, 6 weeks or so. Great job, Carter Lins. Crossover, look at that. Back to it.
Yeah, it was not a bad move at all by the 66 there.
Capitalizing on the mistake. If I recall correctly from a race you called on Friday, you talked about consistency being the most important thing at this racetrack. being able to consistently run the same lap time over and over and over again. Not push it too hard or not leave anything on the table. That's going to be a key to success here tonight. Who are you seeing that has put the most consistent run together?
It's hard to say. There's a lot through here, but you know, I've been keeping my eye a lot on the 77 of Grant Thorpe. He's been pretty well, you know, middle of the pack here. His lap times aren't falling off terribly by any means, but started 9th, currently in 8th. He does lead sweep bonus point. I would not be surprised if Grant Thorpe can keep up the pace he's had if we see him up here on the podium at the end of this race.
Definitely possible. One of the more quietly consistent drivers in this series is the 77, Grant Thorpe. Let's see if he can do just that and bring it to the top 3, chasing down Trevor Keith. There is Trevor Keith. In the 15, running what he calls the diamond scheme. I believe that's his favorite of all the KSX racing graphic schemes he's created. Looking pretty fast up here in the 6th position. Gonna have to make it work to advance in the playoffs. But I'm sure the driver has no problem with Kansas, as I believe this would be his home track, if I'm not mistaken.
If I recall correctly, I think I've seen something in the chat about that as well. So
I'm going to go by that big Chiefs logo on the background and say this is probably his home track.
I mean, he could just be a big fan.
That's possible. That's possible. I'm just going to take a guess, and I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Good battle.
Well, with that being said.
Yeah, good battle. A little further back. This for the 11th spot, Kevin Orlando Jr., Michael Call, a few drivers who've had issues today. Remember, Orlando Jr. had an incident with the 84 of Hudgens, the 98 of McGeorge, turning him into the outside wall on the front stretch. Call on the initial start got shuffled all the way back to last place. Has steadily improved up to the 13th position. Got Harrison in the middle of those two right now.
Now, if you notice, we finally have a little bit of separation. Excuse me. A little bit of separation between Kevin Orlando Jr. and Justice Murphy, who were battling it out lap after lap at the beginning of this race.
Here we see Justice Murphy. There is the 12 running in 14th. A little bit of damage on the right front. Nothing to be too concerned about, I don't think. I don't know if that's hurting the handling at all. His lap times look just fine. In fact, quite a bit better than the 2 in front of him. In fact, he was the fastest car on the racetrack that last time, so he's obviously damage not hurting him in any respect. Ran a 31.49 last time. The leader ran a 31.63, so 0.2, tenth and a half. Or driver of the 12 with the hot pink wheels this week. Not sure if that was intentional, but it's working. Maybe keep the Barbie wheels next week. Who knows?
Yeah, it all depends on where he finishes out in this race. You know, you can't go and change up the car. That was one thing I was talking about pre-race with Jeremy Burns. He decided to start growing facial hair, and he's been having luck with it in the playoffs. I told him, you cannot get rid of it until after the championship if you continue on your streak.
In Canada, we call that the playoff beard for the NHL playoffs. Every player who can even grow a little bit of facial hair has a beard throughout the playoffs until their team is eliminated. And then there goes the beard. Let's do a quick through your field. No way to segue beards, unfortunately. It's just simply not possible.
Yeah, there's no possibilities with it.
Maybe if Robinson was here, we'd go to Aloe Barbershop. Maybe they would help us out, but we're not quite there at that point. Trevor Erhardt is the leader into the outside wall ever so slightly. Led 46 laps, has really come to play today. The aforementioned Matt Robinson, Aloe on the side. Should I get your beard cleaned up? Ithaca, New York. Anyway, he runs in second. James Loveland is in the third position. Alex Forget in the fourth spot. Jeremy Burns is in fifth. Caleb Gilbert and Carter Linz swapping the sixth and seventh positions. Looks like Gilbert's going to get it this time. Linz runs seventh. Grant Thorpe, we're talking about him earlier. Quiet and steady is the driver in eighth. 77. Grant Thorpe. Chris Nail is in the ninth spot. He is the 88. Solid run in the top 10. 27, making a pass on Trevor Keith. That's Kevin Orlando Jr. Move him to the 10th spot. Trevor Keith is now in 11. Justice Murphy, 12th in the 12. Nick Alves is 13th. Tyler Harrison, 14th spot, steadily working his way through this field. Just trying to get some points as he is at the bottom of the playoff standings at the moment. Kyle Diaz is in 15th. Michael Call, 16th. Dylan Picklesheimer running 17th. Brandon Richardson working around the 14 of Michael Bennett. Side by side off of turn number 4. They are 18th and 19th. Parker Johnston with a T, playoff driver in 20th. Travis Gilbert, another playoff driver after an issue. A spin on the backstretch and missing his pit box. He is 21st. Grant Turner, 22nd, another playoff driver. Jacob Sirkovich is 23rd. Al Likens now in the 24th spot, last driver on the lead lap in the Tide Ride. Joe Joya, 1 lap down in 25th. Daniel Holloway, Candyman, 1 down in 26th. Christopher Schaefer is 2 down in 27th. Robert Rader is 3 down in 28th after damage from a spin on the backstretch. Devin Hudgens, last car running, he is 15 down in 29th. Jackson McGeorge, Cameron King have left the session.
Big hits for the front of this starting grid. You know, Jackson McGeorge, mentioned earlier, he did win that pole, but out of the race very early. Robert Rader started out 5th. He's found himself all the way back into 26th position after some instances. It's been such a huge shakeup from how we started this race. It's been interesting to say the least.
How about this, Logan? Of the top 10 at the moment, I see only 4 of those drivers who started in the top 10. Erhardt in 8th, Loveland in 2nd, Thorpe in 9th, and Forget in 10th. Everybody else has moved their way into the top 10 without starting there 106 laps ago. But here comes the 55 or the 53, trying to get one of those laps back. So very close. Because I think we have drivers on pit road. We do. Diaz, Call, Johnston, and Likens all hit pit road. They had stretched the run. Erhardt, the leader as well. And look at the 19 close in. Wonder if that was a potential speeding penalty on the 19. Matt Robinson takes over the point. This is the money stop. We could make it to the end from here.
This is very risky. Again, you know, we've talked about early pit stops this entire race. I just feel like this might be a little too early.
Again, I would stretch it. I mean, right now, Robinson, 5 more laps he could run. Gilbert's going to take over the lead with Burns behind him, and Rader's going to lead that group. Might be trying to conserve a little bit of fuel out there. They have another about 9, maybe 10 laps they could go in this race. That might be pushing a little bit too far. That's interesting. That's only a pit stop with 10 to go. Splash and go might do it for you. It's going to be an interesting run to the finish. But what would Kansas be without fuel mileage, right?
It wouldn't be Kansas.
I mean, we've seen American Ethanol plastered on that backstretch wall. We'll probably get a shot of it here this time by. In fact, I know we will. I'm running the cameras. Off of 2. There it is. American Ethanol streaming by the 54 and the 9. Perfect racetrack for it because this place always comes down to fuel mileage every time.
Well, just to give you a quick update, you mentioned the 19 of Forget. potentially a speeding penalty. He did avoid that. How he did, I have no idea. That's twice I've seen him coming in very hot to the pits and locked up the rear tires last time I saw it. But back out on the racetrack with no penalty after that pit stop.
I see Thorpe, Travis Gilbert on the pit lane. So is Richardson and Joya. Holloway, I think, just made his stop. Heavy damage on the nose in 21. Not sure where that came from. He has not hit pit road. He is just falling through the field due to the damage. I see the 39s on pit road. That's Grant Turner. Grant the Toes Turner.
You know, we had him up there on the screen earlier, and I did not hear you mention that nickname, and I was rather disappointed, so I'm glad you got it in here this time.
I do what I can. Battle for the lead. Mountain Man, Caleb Gilbert, with the lap down, Raider in tow. More pit stops this time. Nick Alves exiting the box. He's lockstep with the 12. See how they're able to get off the pit road here. Seen a number of drivers have issues, and this is a tricky one to get off of. It's got deceiving grip. Right here, you start to lose a lot of that grip that you thought you had as the top two are on pit road now. Picklesheimer yet to hit the pit lane. He will take over the lead for just a few laps. As we are under, or just about at 20 to go. Now the Candyman's on pit road. Drop the jack on the 54. And away he goes. Will he get his teammate, Jeremy Burns? He will not. Good stop for the 9 bunch. See where they cycle out with the rest of the drivers. Remember, Erhardt was your leader. There, he's going to pass both of the Element X drivers. But will fresh tires prevail? 6 laps older tires on the front two. And that's the gap. Second to third.
What was it earlier that we were looking at, Morgan? Was it 8 laps of difference on the tires? Was the equivalent of about a half second per lap?
You're right about that.
So this is going to come down to the wire. There's going to be a lot of damage control for Erhardt, Forget, Loveland. All 3 of those drivers are really going to have to work hard to keep these fresh tire cars behind them. Jeremy Burns being the first one behind them with fresh tires. Looks like outsides only. Same for Caleb Gilbert, a couple spots behind him, and Kyle Diaz.
We're setting up for an epic finish here. Your leader is Dylan Picklesheimer. Has to hit the pit road. So does second place Jacob Sirkovich. They must pit, cannot make it on fuel. Could only go another maybe 1 or 2 more laps. Erhardt, Forget, and everyone behind him has hit the pit road already. This is essentially the battle for the lead. And they took 4 fresh tires as well. So you'd have to think any tire advantage that Burns may have, it's going to be difficult to use it as they are about 0.2 faster, Burns is, over the leaders that time by. Can't forget about Loveland as well. Also has a shot at this, running in 5th, would cycle out to 3rd once the 43 and the 18 hit the pits.
I'm 100% with you here. This is going to boil down to being a fantastic finish here for the first race of the round of 12.
Top 2 hit the pit lane. Sirkovich and Picklesheimer on pit road. Now it's a 2v2 style battle. 0.2 between the front 2, then another second back, another 1.2 back, sorry, to Loveland, is under fire. And the Element X guys see Burns try to diamond the corner. Oh, Raiders in the outside wall trying to get out of the way. He does so successfully. Burns might clear this time. But Loveland fights back on the high line. 6-lap tires, not quite enough, but Burns has got to get by quickly. The laps are running out.
Yeah, that high line is just so fast compared to that low line, but it's just, man, Jeremy Burns just has such an opportunity to get around Loveland with that tire advantage that he has, but it is just not working out right now.
Slide job potentially right here. He is clear for the moment. Can he slide up the racetrack in front of the 0-2?
This is the only opportunity he has to do it.
He got it easily. That was a full car length. He did it. Now Burns has to drive away. It's 3/10 out the windshield. How about 1.3 seconds out the windshield to go get the 19? He's also driving away from the other driver on the same tires as him. Caleb Gilbert unable to get by the 1 and the 0-2.
Gilbert, though, taking the same approach as Jeremy Burns just did. A little bit of a slide job there up in front of the 1. Now he's just got to do it again to the 0-2.
Lap traffic wreaking havoc on your leader, Trevor Erhardt. Dirty air is not your friend at Kansas.
Yeah, this late in the race, as your leader, this is the last thing you want to see as a car ahead of you causing dirty air.
Forget's in the wall. Yeah, that's what you want to see if you're the leader, though, is second place, catch the outside wall, slide back behind a lap car again. Yeah, dirty air wreaking havoc. See the 18 enter high, drive down to the bottom. Gilly's going to give a clear exit to the 41. But the gap went from about a tenth. Now it's half a second, and Burns another 4/10 behind. The 19 is now in trouble. Got 2 cars in front of him. 41 about as close to the wall as you can possibly get. Got Schaefer to the inside. That can't be helping either. Makes you a little nervous when you got a lap car right on your quarter panel all the way around this Kansas Speedway. Believe me, been there, done that.
Well, realistically, we should see Schaefer drive away at any point now. We've got a massive difference in tires between the two. Schaefer just came out of the pits. Erhardt already 16 laps on this set of tires. Schaefer should be no factor in just a few minutes.
Well, it's going to destroy the air on the 41 as the battle for the lead is now 3. Burns is caught and is passing the 19. He's going to slide up in front of him right here. He will easily clear Alex Forget. We got 11 laps to go, and Burns has one more car to pass. And that car is having so much dirty air dumped on it. Now the 41 goes to the high line, 23 to the bottom. Into the outside wall is Erhardt. Battle for the lead. Drag race into turn number 3. Jeremy Burns has the spot by just a fraction of a car. He's going to slide up the racetrack here. Anything from the 41? No. Give the lead to the 9. Don't look now, his teammate is in tow. This is the opportunity the 54 needed. Can he dispatch the 41? It looks like he will. Yes, he will clear. Element X Racing. 1-2.
He has been in that wall out of turn 2 for the last 3 laps.
If I was him, I would be screaming at the lap cars right now. Effectively, I mean, yes, we still have 10 laps to go, but you heat your right front tires up a few degrees because a lap car is running your line, dumping a whole bunch of dirty air on you. Makes you kind of question the etiquette. So does that. Little slide job, little crossover. That's just good Kansas racing. But I'd be furious with lap cars just because they don't need necessarily to run the high line. There's nothing that they're fighting, nothing that they're trying to get out of it. And they essentially cost you the lead with very fast cars chasing you down. Speaking of fast cars chasing you down, look at the 54. This is the best we've seen him all season. Peaking potentially at the right time.
Just to back it up a little bit, Morgan, we do, earlier mentioned after that pit cycle, that 6-lap difference between Erhardt, Jeremy Burns, Caleb Gilbert here on the tires. So, you know, as much as I would like to say, yes, the lap cars were a huge factor, I think tires were just as big of a factor.
Don't tell that to a driver.
Well, it's a good thing we're here in the booth talking to each other.
That's right. That is exactly right. Element X guy is going to catch their teammate, the wounded 53. As Raider is going to give way easily. Let the top two fight amongst themselves. Can Caleb Gilbert go out here and get his second win of the year? And Jeremy Burns win another one. 1v1. 2.5 seconds ahead of the field. Schaefer and Sirkovich well ahead. Shouldn't be impacting the arrow of these two. The gap is 0.2 of a second. And we have 5 laps to go.
Well, it
Classic.
didn't shape up to be quite the exciting finish we were thinking. You know, I was thinking at least 4, 5, 6 cars all battling it out for the lead, but you know, this right here, Jeremy Burns and Caleb Gilbert, this will still be a fantastic finish between these two.
1v1, and it's only about two car lengths separating the two of them. 4 laps to go. What do you do? Where do you go? This is the cat and mouse game. But only Kansas can provide 3 usable grooves. Which one do you pick? Burns pulled away a little bit. There, looks like the 54 is able to really get down to the white line better than the 9. Maybe just loses a little bit on the exit. See,
This
there's
is another thing to think about here is you don't want to pass too early and allow, you know, the 9 of Burns to get in your head, rattle the cage, as Dale Sr. would say, and move you out of the way. But you also don't want to fall back too far and allow him to run away with it. So you have to time it perfectly here.
As we're coming to 2 to go. 4 more opportunities for the 54 to get around his teammate. Will he be able to? Gonna try and diamond turn 1 and 2. He's gonna lose a fair bit of ground here. Back to 0.3. That's the gap. First to second. As Burns, for what feels like the 100th time this season, is going to collect the Erhardt Homes white flag. Love where you live. 1v1. Up at the front. Burns goes high. Gilbert goes low. Gilbert cannot get to the quarter panel. Gap is 0.2. For the final time today, Burns is going to go protective in the middle of turn number 3 to the bottom of turn 4. Close off the air. And off of turn number 4, Jeremy Burns is going to win in Kansas.
Definitely a driver you never want to take off your radar right there. Jeremy Burns with a huge win.
Yeah, phenomenal drive. I mean, we didn't talk about him very much at all until the final 30 laps or so. He played the strategy perfectly. Led the last 22. And yeah, just another classic win for Jeremy Burns.
Just really padding that that buffer that he has. Was that I believe Rob Rader in second place in the points for the playoffs? Is that correct?
That's right.
And obviously not having the race he was looking to have, finishing out well back there in 28th, 2 laps down, 4 laps down, something that nature there. So it's A big bump for Jeremy Burns here in the playoff points. Going to give him a huge momentum boost into the next 2 weeks and obviously into the next round with this win. Locks him in.
Yes, it does. And that's exactly what he did last round at Atlanta. Won the race. Was able to clinch his way into this round, which he's already won here. So yeah, on to the round of 8 he goes. Doesn't have to worry about it, although he is going to want to win that Roval, of course, to sweep all of the road courses. But let's go get him. Why don't you go find Jeremy Burns? We'll get him up here in the booth. Have a chat with our winner.
Absolutely. Element Egg. Let's go find him. All right.
Jeremy Burns. Morgan and Logan up in the booth. You got a copy.
Yes, sir.
How do you keep doing this?
I don't know. That was a great strategy call there. I got to give all the credit to the team on that one. We talked that out the entire race, so it was definitely a big team win there. Unfortunately, Rob got caught up in some stuff early, but overall as a team, we worked amazing together, and we were able to talk out a lot of stuff. And that's another great win in the books, and we're on to the round of 8.
Yeah, we didn't say much about you for most of this race. We saw you a little bit fighting in the back of the pack with some of this incredible 2, 3, and 4 wide racing here at Kansas. But you were never really up at the front, up in the top 5 like we're used to seeing you. And then kind of Kevin Harvick-esque, Matt Kenseth-esque at the end of the race. Jeremy Burns appears in 3rd with the freshest tires and is chasing down the top 2. How did you get there? And was there anything that could have derailed the 9 today?
I mean, I didn't know how we were going to be, honestly, after qualifying. 13th is actually pretty low for what we're doing. I think we're averaging about a 3rd starting spot. So qualifying wasn't so good, so I wasn't that confident. But we stayed aggressive the entire time. Even at the stage, we stayed aggressive, got 3rd. And then, we stayed aggressive on that one caution where we came in and took tires. And, there was a mixed bag of strategy. And that's what set you up for the rest of the race. And we saw something similar to that in the spring. So being able to kind of remember that and know what to do in this situation, it just shows that really being there throughout the season, you learn so much. And, we had a couple breaks go our way, but at the same time, just a really good race overall. And, it was a great win overall.
Speak a little bit, Jeremy, on just what it's like running in the pack where there's so many drivers just kind of stretched out all over the racetrack, running the extreme high line. You got guys wrapping the white line, and how hard it is to make it through the field, but also how much fun it is to drive in that sort of environment.
Oh, it's a ton of fun. I felt like we were on the defensive there at the stage, so that was one aspect of it. But once we took those tires at that caution, we were the aggressors, and that's when it's really fun. So setting the guys up, if there's multiple people in a line, you know that they're probably going to be slow because not only are you at a tire advantage, but you also have the dirty air. So just picking your lanes and picking your poison while keeping the tires underneath of you, because if you burn your tires off, it doesn't matter if you have a tire advantage. Your tires will just disintegrate and you'll be even with them. Especially on that last run, we were wondering how far Trevor and Berube were going to get out there. But it was amazing to see when we came out, it was only like 2 seconds. And at that point, we were like, all right, time to go get them. And, you saw at the end there, they just fell off, dropped like a rock, and it was down between me and Caleb. So it was a lot of fun to drive through those tracks, a lot of chaos. You hear your spotter go 3 wide, and at a track like this, you're like, all right, well, it's 3 wide, but where are they at 3 wide? Like, are they all the way on the bottom? Are they running the wall? Are they like right on your door? So it was definitely a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Nerve-wracking experience in traffic here at Kansas, and you made yourself 1 pair of AXCEL Sports gloves richer tonight. So congratulations here to winning the AXCEL Sports 200. Better get out that list, Jeremy. I know it's growing week by week.
Oh, I did sneakily today. I already got it out.
Very good.
But a huge shout out to AXCEL Sports for signing on for the race. I can't wait to get these gloves. I can't wait to see how we can design them too. Definitely gonna try to get some Mountain Man nameage on it. But Other than that, gotta shout out my mom and dad, Josie, Dylan, Coach P, Sonny, my grandma, and Miss Betsy for their continued support, Julie, Derek, Caroline, Shannon, Belinda, and Betty, any of the supporters of the league, uh, Element X Racing, like I said, for the strategy. That was an amazing race, and it really played out for the team, and should do good for the team points as well. We're in the playoffs for that, so that should be looking pretty good. Chapman Environmental, of course, for being on the hood, and the other sponsor of the league, Buttkicker, Coast Financial, Ultimate Exterior Lighting, Erhardt Homes, All About Bugs. The admins and everybody else that put on the race day. It was an amazing race. All the drivers did phenomenal. Limited the cautions. So that was a really fun race to see the runs progress. And of course, all you guys up here at V-Speed, y'all doing a fantastic job. And I can't wait to go back tomorrow and watch this thing.
This was a fun one here at Kansas, but Jeremy Burns able to come out on top again, climb the mountain, so to speak. No chuckle. Okay.
Well, I want to ask Jeremy here before he departs. Do you remember our conversation pre-race here?
Yes, I do.
So it's official that the beard has to stay.
Yes, and you know what? We got a road course in this round too, so I mean, the beard might bring all the success, so it might have to stay until Phoenix.
I think it definitely has to stay until Phoenix, but as Morgan said, great job tonight, Jeremy.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
And if not, Aloe Barbershop calling your name if it turns out that that's not the way that the Mountain Man wants to go. Congratulations, Jeremy, for winning the AXCEL Sports 200. And we will catch you next week.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Number 9 brings it to the finish line one more time. We're going to step aside for just a few minutes, take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with your results and the rest of the top 3 interviews. Caleb Gilbert and Trevor Erhardt on the way. You've been watching the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series presented by Racing Revolution at the racetrack where it all began. This race, the AXCEL Sports 200. And a fun one here tonight. Be back in just a few.
So Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
Back here on V-Speed, just wrapped up the AXCEL Sports 200 at Kansas. Let's have a look at how it went down. 2 cautions and 17 lead changes, and those are just the ones at the start-finish line. Lots of action all the way throughout this race. Jeremy Burns claims another checkered flag. Caleb Gilbert comes home in second. Trevor Erhardt, the strategy did not quite work out for the driver who led the most laps today. He finishes in third. Alex Forget, same boat as the 41, finishes in fourth. And James Loveland with a great run, top 5 for V-Speed's very own. Grant Thorpe, solid run in P6. Matt Robinson finishes in 7th after gaining 7 spots. Carter Linz finishes in 8th. Travis Gilbert rebounds from having a spin down the backstretch to finish in the 9th spot. And Kyle Diaz rounds out your top 10. 11th spot, Grant Turner gains 10 from his 21st starting position to finish in 11th, just over 11 seconds behind the leader. Tyler Harrison finishes in 12th, going to help the points ever so slightly. Dylan Picklesheimer, good run for him in the 43, finishes 13th. 14th will be Chris Nail in the 88. Justice Murphy, playoff driver, in the 15th position. Kevin Orlando Jr. going to finish 16th after gaining 3 spots from his starting position. Trevor Keith also going to gain 3. He will finish in the 17th position. Playoff driver there. Nick Alves lost 3 to finish 18th in his 24 machine. Michael Call finishes in the 19th spot in the 89 car. Michael Bennett never really was a factor, ends up in 20th tonight. Parker Johnston with the T gains 9 to finish in the 21st position. Jacob Sirkovich, last driver on the lead lap in the 18. He will come home in 22nd. Joe Joya, first driver, 1 down after starting shotgun on the field, finishes 23rd. Brandon Richardson finishes in 24th. Daniel Holloway, the Candyman, 25th. Al Likens, Christopher Schaefer finished 2 laps down, 26th and 27th respectively. Rob Rader got spun on the backstretch, heavy damage to the 53, finishes 4 laps down in 28th. Devin Hudgens caught up in an incident along with Jackson McGeorge. Both those drivers started inside the top 4 and will finish 29th and 30th respectively. The last driver on the grid tonight is Cameron King, caught up in an incident early, finishes 77 laps down in 31st. So that's how the race went. Now Logan is caught up with our second and third place finishers. We're going to chat with Caleb Gilbert first. What you got for us, Logan?
Absolutely. I've got Caleb Gilbert down here on the pit lane. Caleb, fantastic drive tonight. You started out in 27th, finished in 2nd. You are indeed the biggest mover of the race. Now, how did that feel? Like, you obviously passed a lot of cars this entire time. Did you ever feel like you were in the clear until that last couple of laps following your teammate Jeremy Burns?
Yeah, it was one of those things where you mess up qualifying a little bit, and you're like, uh-oh, how am I going to get to the front here? Oh, you guys got me? I know my voice might be lagging a little bit there.
We got
You're
you
all
now.
good. We've got you
If
for
you guys
now.
do have me. You're all good. Sorry about that. I'm glad it's doing it now, not during the race. But yeah, one of those deals where, you set up for the long run in all these races, and then you got to strategize ahead of time how you're going to get to the front. So shared that secret a little with teammates there. We were able to jump a good bit at the stage who followed my strategy there. So that's kind of a nice little but long speed always helps a ton being on that strategy.
We're catching very little bits and pieces. Caleb, would you like to come back here in just a few minutes, see if we can get the internet squared away? We can move on to Trevor for a few minutes.
That works. Sorry.
All good, buddy. We'll move on to Trevor Erhardt down just a few pit stops, and we'll get you back up in here. Hopefully, get you squared away so we can actually hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I think I know what it is. So I'll be back. Don't worry,
We'll
fellas.
bring you back, buddy.
Logan about to put his sprinting shoes on as he runs down to go catch up with third place Trevor Erhardt.
All right, I'm out of breath after that one, but we have Trevor Erhardt now. Trevor, you led the most laps tonight, 59 in total. Started out in 8th, finished out in 3rd, so not a bad race by any means. Now, here's my first question for you of all. How frustrating was the dirty air off of the back of those lap cars while you were in the lead in the last 15 laps or so?
Um, it wasn't too frustrating. I was actually surprisingly really comfortable in the dirty air with this car. So I didn't mind it much. I was actually more or less wanting to use the draft help to try to, keep a buffer to those guys. But the tire advantage they had, I knew was going to cause us some grief. But I mean, we're out here. We've got nothing to lose. We're just trying to get wins, build momentum as we transition into next season. And I can't be too disappointed. It hurts a little bit, but we still got a handful of races to go out and get a win before the end of the season. But man, it's been one of those seasons that you just want to forget, and this really brings back the fun in what we do when you have runs like this.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a fantastic race to watch. Hopefully, everybody was able to enjoy it. It's action through the entire field, really, and a lot in the middle of the pack. But you stayed up in the front for most of the race, so you never really had to deal with that. But it kind of just boiled down to those last couple laps there for you, and obviously things not quite going your way. We saw you in the wall quite a few times as well. How was that high line working? I mean, it seemed to be doing just fine, but you really just hugging the wall, kind of scraping it, slowing you down a little bit. What was going on there?
Yeah, the highline around here is really strong. And I'm not a huge highline fan. I don't like to hang it out high, wide, and handsome all the time. But you just such a fine margin, especially once the tires wear down and you just get up into it. It slows you down a little bit. I don't think overall it hurt us. I don't think it cost us, cost us the win here tonight. Those guys, Burns and Caleb, they played the strategy call right with that quick caution that we had after the stage. That really worked out for them. The two tire call, I think, was going to be the winning move. I just with the fuel mileage that we were getting and the pit stop that we had to make, we couldn't afford to take two tires with how long that last stint was going to be. But overall, I mean, for a team, for the team tonight, we did really well. I came home third. I think Loveland was fourth or fifth. Parker was up there for a little bit, but I think he had some internet issues throughout the race and kind of fell back late. But for us as a team, our swan song season here, I think it was a good performance from all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it was a fantastic race to watch, and just another kind of cliff note for you. You did have the second fastest lap in the race by only 3/1000ths of a second behind. That'd be Devin Hudgens. Just barely beat you out for that. But Trevor, before you depart from us, buddy, anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
Got to give a huge shout out to you guys over at V Speed for the great broadcasts. And for letting me use some clips and a little bit of a fun video that I did for the league guys. So huge shout out to you guys as always. All the league sponsors, Chapman Environmental Services, Coastal Financial, All About Bugs, Ultimate Exterior Lighting, Erhardt Homes, Buttkicker. The racing revolution wouldn't be what we are today without, all those wonderful people jumping on board to support us. The whole admin team for everything they do week in, week out, all the drivers that show up week in, week out. I mean, these are some of the most fun races out there. And when you can go 334 laps with only, one on track incident, makes for a pretty fun night. And I got to give a huge shout out to my family. They tune in every week, and it's been a really rough season. I think this is the third time I've gotten to talk to you all season. So, huge shout out to my parents, my grandparents, my sister and brother-in-law, and my nephew for tuning in every week. And hopefully, guys, we'll get you into victory lane before this season's over and done with.
A lot of 41 fans in the chat week after week. We do see them and hear them. Trevor Earhart, fantastic finish tonight, third place. We will see you next week.
Yep, thank you guys.
I will make my way back down here to see Caleb Gilbert once more, see if he's got himself situated with the audio issues. Caleb Gilbert, are you fixed up now?
Yep, the computer decided to force start an update, so I'm very glad that didn't happen in the race.
That would have been a worst case scenario for the 54 car tonight. That is for sure. Anyways, buddy, so The next question I had for you, obviously finishing behind your teammate, Jeremy Burns. Now, was there any thought in the closing laps, to solidify yourself a little bit deeper into the playoffs to get around him since he does have quite the cushion on the points? What was the communication between the team on the last, say, 5 laps?
I mean, that was one of those ones where it's, we got here, we have a big gap. He knows that if I'm going to make a move, I'm going to do it cleanly. It wasn't from lack of effort. It's one of those deals where whatever line you run, the majority of the time, you can't really switch. Which I was running the bottom, he was running the top, and we were both saving pretty well on same exact lap tires. So I gave it what I could. I could get close to him on corner entry, but with just 2 cars kind of pulling off of each other, the top was just so much better. There's no way without having some sort of tire advantage with how well both of us saved.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I think it, correct me if I'm wrong, Morgan, about a 2.5 second gap to the third place car.
5 seconds.
Oh, really? It got that big. Okay. Well, 5 second gap. So you guys obviously had it clean and clear there towards the end of this race. So that last question for you, obviously, you guys were communicating about the strategy and everything. Both of you only taking right side tires on the last pit stop there. Now, how big of a factor do you feel that was? Did that give you the better track position that you needed, or was the car feeling better after having the left sides staying on the vehicle and a little bit more worn in?
It's one of those things where it depends how you run the car. Because actually at the stage, my whole plan was I messed up qualifying really bad. Started almost in last. Drove up to 15th, and then I took 2 there. And I short pitted by 5-6 laps for most guys. And I ran it the last maybe 7 or 8 laps was just little enough. Or I ran it a little too hard, so I really fell off those last 3-4 laps, and those guys blew past me. I think I finished 8th in the stage. So it was still a net positive. So I knew it was a really good call. And then at that point, once we got that caution at lap 55, I was telling Rob and Jeremy what the best course of action would be. And that was clearly to run both times as long as you could, and then pit for rights, and you just needed to save just a little bit. As long as you didn't go all out, it was a massive net gain. So yeah, 2 tires were great as long as you didn't push it way too hard that first 10 laps because they went quick.
Absolutely. Well, that was a fantastic call for the Element X team made by yourself. But Caleb, before you depart from us, buddy, anybody you'd like to say thanks to?
All our sponsors tonight. As always, a big shout out to AXCEL Sports. They hopped on the first race for those guys. I know Jeremy got him a nice new pair of gloves, adding to his collection. Everybody else that goes into it, Buttkicker, Coastal Financial, of course, Chapman Environmental Services on the hood of our cars. Everything else that goes into it, all about bugs. You guys up in the booth. Hopefully, we tried to keep it as interesting as possible up there in the front. I tried my best. And then everybody at home that watches week in, week out, especially the Burns crew. I know he's got a whole brigade of people tuning in. So shout out to
He
everybody
absolutely
back at
does.
home. Maybe they'll cheer me on too one day.
Stick around with him, and I'm sure they will. But Caleb, fantastic race tonight. Again, the biggest mover in the field with 25 positions gained. We will see you next week, buddy.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
We will hand this back over to Morgan here for our closing thoughts.
All right. Well, phenomenal race here tonight. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, Kansas always puts on a show, but it especially did tonight. All sorts of 2, 3, sometimes even 4 wide battles around this 1.5 miles. Came down to only quarter second between the top 2. Strategy was a factor. I mean, everything you want in a race was in this Kansas race tonight. And I'm glad to have Logan up here in the booth to share it with me. And this Racing Revolution Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series has just been phenomenal all season long. Only a few races left until we crown a champion. All right, you have just watched the AXCEL Sports 200 here on V-Speed. Let's have a look at the schedule. As we run it down for next week, please join us October 9th as the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series travels to Talladega for the second race in the round of 12 at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on V-Speed as we bring you flag-to-flag coverage all season long. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button, like the video. For everyone here at V-Speed, helps us out a significant amount. Having all the fans watch every week. You found us, you might as well stick around a little while longer. But for everyone here at V-Speed, Adam Baker, Eddie Smith, Bradley Cooper, and of course my co-commentator Logan Threlkeld, I've been Morgan Cook. Have a great evening. Thank you, and good night, everyone.